From the confines of a prison cell to the stress of everyday life, it's been said we're all doing time. So remember, it's always a thin line.
All right, everybody, welcome back to It's Always a Thin Line. I'm Teacher Will here with Boss Man and with the captain as well. All right, Boss Man, what are we talking about today?
Well, the title for today, we're going with Pretty Rainbows and Butterflies, the gray area of how society views society, the normal people.
Does this mean we're giving secrets away?
No, about all that, but you know. So, all right. So there's obviously, I often tell people because, people know, where I've been and this and that. And I tell them the story about the time where we were walking, Boss Man, and I told you to your face, I was like, hey, Boss Man, you say whatever you want to say. The only difference between you and me, aside from our uniforms, is that I got caught. That's it. That's the only difference between me and you. I got caught. And I mean, that is a pretty true fact, So there's going to be points where we probably see the same way. And then there's points where we're not. For example, the other day, I was talking to Boss Man. He was sitting in his car in front of the gym. I'm trying to talk to him, but he's zeroed in, and I know the look. And I asked him, "What's up? Somebody looking for some, some problems or what?" And he was like, "Nah, just keep an eye on these cholos having a beer before they go in the gym or whatever they were doing. I forget, energy protein drink, whatever." But the point is that I recognized the face immediately. I knew something was up, and what's up, what's going on. And so I don't know, how long were you working, Captain, inside? As an officer?
Like I said, while I was serving, I was working at the military prison, and that was a four-year stint.
Okay.
And when I retired from the military, I got picked up and with immigration and marshals. And so altogether, I would say about 15, 16 years.
Okay.
Altogether, yeah.
All right. So when walking through any pod, any yard, anything inside the prison, is there a rule you always had for your own personal safety?
Yeah, with the inmates, never to be too friendly, never to trust.
Okay.
Always.
But let's take that just a little bit. What I mean is your physical safety. Like, for example, let me give you a quick example. One example of me: never let nobody stand behind you. Period. I mean, that's just getting, and never. If somebody stand behind you, man, that's a problem all the time, 100%. So when I was, generally speaking, if I'm in the pod, if I'm playing cards, I'm trying to aim my back to the wall. If I'm watching TV, I'm trying to lean against the rail so nobody can stand behind me or something along those nature. So that's one rule I had. No, I don't want people standing behind me. So what about you? Did you have a rule like that?
Yeah, the same thing. Never let anybody stand behind you. And now that you bring that up, there was a couple of times that I snuck up on you while you were playing cards or sitting down in the day room on a table, and I would sneak behind you, and right away you just picked up on it, and you turned around and said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." Yeah, giving me a heads up, like, "Hey, this is not right. Don't stand behind me." So quite a few things I learned inside the facility, even from the inmates. They told me what's right and what's wrong, and I wasn't shy about it, because I wanted to do the job right, and I didn't want to make the inmates uncomfortable. So yeah, never standing behind somebody or anybody standing behind me. I try not to do that.
All right. What about you, Boss Man? Did you have any kind of rule? I mean, obviously we all had this one same rule because it's safety, really. But what about another one? There has to be another one.
My most important was you got to be farther than my arm length. If they got beyond, if I could put my fingertips on your chest, you're too close. And when people came close, I used to put my arm out. Hey, I'm going to extend my arm. Get back. What? That's my comfort zone. Don't get too close to my comfort zone. Because I knew if they had a longer reach than me, I was done. Period. that was my number one rule. Don't get inside my comfort zone.
All right. Another rule. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I wanted to add another rule that I learned the hard way, which scared the shit out of me. I talked shit to an inmate, and one of the words I said to him is, you're staying here overnight. I'm going home, and I get to bang my old lady, and you're staying here. And that was a huge mistake because apparently he had issues going on with family and stuff like that. And I just ticked him off, and people had to come and rescue me. And this was when I was an officer. So I kind of learned the hard way. You don't want to disrespect another human being.
Cool. One thing that got me, I remember when I came out, not only did I get out of prison after 12 years, and it wasn't just 12 years, it was from 18 to 30. So it was the years I grew up, the years I learned, things like that. So not only did I get out, I also got deported. So I ended up out of my comfort zone, if you will, and then in a completely different culture and different country. But I remember somebody, I forget who it was exactly. So this was not only was this two different cultures meeting up, this is also a language barrier as well, because I didn't speak Spanish very well. I still don't speak it that well, but better. So my point is that they wanted to hand me a cup of water, and I, negative on that one. Put it on the table, and I'll pick it up from there. I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? And that's a strange rule, but I mean the reason it is because sometimes in prison people hand you stuff just to get you, and then it's over. So a lot of people don't accept things in their hand. They say, hey, you want to share this coffee? Cool. Put it on the table. I'll pick it up from the table.
Do you still do that?
Yeah. So when it's a security thing. You don't want somebody, doing something dumb. So this is something that actually followed me out, as well as the, no one behind my back. And 13 years later, I still don't let people, I still, when I worked in the call center, I remember I told them, hey, you need to put me in the back row because I don't want people sitting behind me. Then one day they actually came to me and they were like, look, we're moving you to the front row. Deal with it. I don't know whatever your problem is, just deal with it. So I said, cool, no problem. Went out to the grocery store, bought me one of those cosmetic compacts, that women use to put the makeup on, broke that off, took out the mirror, chewed some gum, stuck it to my computer on both sides. I had like little rear view mirrors. So, hey, anytime I was looking at my computer, at any time I could see who was behind me. Now, my trainer thought I was the craziest guy in the world. Maybe they knew where I was. Maybe they didn't. I probably not. They just thought I was weird. So what about you? How long, Captain, did it take you, when you got out? Do some of these things still stay with you after these years?
Just like you, I'm still doing it to this day. For example, I go into a restaurant. I'm always looking at the front door. I'm always looking at the front door, and I'm always doing my best to be against the wall so I can see 360 degree all around me. So of course I do that, and that's what we call streetwise. Growing up in the streets, you deal with a lot of crazy people, a lot of violence, and growing up in the street, you learn to survive. Just like the inmates, they learn to survive because inside the facility, there's really no time to try and talk it out. It's just duking it out. Yeah.
And you, boss man, I know from experience, having talked to you on the phone, while things went a little shady, things come back real fast. But, in general, do you have something you can say on that?
That's why I want to call this episode Pretty Butterflies and Rainbows, because most of society doesn't view the way we view the world. Most of them don't see the negative side of it. Let me give you a great example. I have an autistic nephew who has the kindest soul, doesn't believe people will do negative, bad stuff to him. And I'm around him and I'm always grabbing him, pulling him beside me, saying, hey, look over here. See that guy? Yeah. See what he's doing? Yeah. That's not good. See the way he's standing, like he's getting ready to fight? Yeah. Well, if he moves this leg towards you, walk behind me, because he doesn't see that. He doesn't see the negative view of a person. He doesn't see the tattoos. He doesn't I was talking to Captain the other day, and I told him an example. And I think it was to you too. I don't remember that I was at the gym, and this big tattooed gangster was looking at me, kept looking at me, kept looking at me. Finally, I turned around, and as I'm acting like I'm putting the weights on, I'm scoping out his tats, and I see what's called a shield. I'm not going to say what type of shield on the guy, and I recognized it right away. Boom. I knew who he was. I knew what he was up to. I knew what he was looking for. I have tattoos on my elbows that represent certain things that I had modified because I was told by a certain individual, hey, you have so many stars on your elbow. That's not right. Oh, shit.
I remember that. I remember when you got that. And I remember you asked me, you were for confirmation, you were like, hey, and I told you, hey, man, I always wondered what the heck was going on with that situation.
Now, mind you, that individual had enough respect, who was a big shot caller from somewhere up, upwards. And he told me straight up, hey, bro, are you from, this area? I'm like, nah, why? He's like, because that represents my area. If you're not from there and you have that, I'm just letting you know, I respect you. And I know you don't know. You need to change it and modify it. That's when I came in, I asked, I was like, hey, is this true? And then some of the other guys from the other side were like, hey, man, you know what? If you take care of it and you have ours, we don't give a shit. Do what you got to do. We'd rather you have ours than theirs, and you're cool because you're from down here. I was like, oh, wow. One simple star. That's all I'm going to say. One simple star on my elbow had a huge impact on the way two groups were viewing me. It's crazy, and like you said the other day when I was talking to you and I looked over and these gangbangers were drinking their drinks, chugging them down. They're just drinking their stuff. But in my peripheral, while I'm talking to you, I'm seeing this because I see the world as gray. And that's one thing. All of my friends, I went hiking today. We sat down. I said, hey, hold on. Do you mind if we sit at this table at the very back? Well, why? I said, come on, man. You're from the hood too. I want to see the entrance. This is the only exit towards the back. I want to see the cashier. I want to see when they pick up the food, who's coming. And he goes, oh, okay, that's cool. He's like, do you, because he had a big dog. So he's like, you want me to put the dog between us? I said, it ain't that serious, but if you can, okay. The more barriers between us and the door, hell yeah. So I still, 22 years later, still abide by those fucked up. And I was talking to Captain, I am institutionalized. I will be institutionalized the rest of my life. Am I better? To a certain degree, yes. I try not to do it, but that's just the way I believe all of us are programmed from being programmed so many years. Is it fucked up? Meh. It is what it is, right? Keeps us alive.
Right. And how do you feel about that, Captain? Do you feel, have you, just left that all behind, or, is there times where it creeps up on you, or?
Like I told my family's been living in a bubble all their lives. They are so protective. They are so conservative. Boss man, we're walking down the street, going to a restaurant, and what do I see? I see everything going on that everybody else in the family doesn't see. I see drug deals going on. I see a rape going on. I see somebody getting pushed in the alley. I see all those things going on. And I'm glad I was, in a way, raised in the streets because I can survive. People don't take advantage of me. I meet people. If they're wearing short sleeves, I look at the tattoos. It tells me all about what they are all about and what they've been through. So no, I've never left that behind, and I'm going to keep that to the day I die because that's the only way to survive out here in New York. New York is a violent ass city. A lot of mean people. You bump into somebody, you're going to get hurt. Just like in prison. You bump into somebody, there's no excuse me. You're going to get down because they're taking it as being disrespected, and everybody's watching. So you got to, you got to stand up for yourself. So no, I haven't gotten away from all those skills that I learned in the street and skills that I learned inside the facility. Nah.
So let me add to that real quick, please. So in the gym, to me, like you said, teacher Will, you put the cup down, you pick it up. You go to grab something. Excuse me, you're using this. No, okay, thank you. You know, I've been at the gym and guys will come and grab a 10-pound plate before right off my rack. And they just grab it. And I'll go, and I did this to a big white guy. I went as soon as he was about to get on the weight, grabbed it, pulled it off the bar, came back and put it on my rack. He's like, what are you doing? I said, bro, where I come from, you ask. I don't know about you, the way your mama raised you. You ask. That's called respect. Do you need this, sir? Well, I was about to use it. Here you go. Handle it. Oh, I apologize, sir. Is that overboard? Yes. Was that a few years back? Yes. Now I'll just be like, hey, excuse me, I was using that. Do you mind asking next time?
Are you talking about the weight sitting on the bar or the weight sitting on the whole bench?
That time it was on the bar. I've had it happen where they take it from the bench. Now it depends on the gym I go to. If I go to the Mission Valley gym, which is more white, more middle class, most of them just take it like they don't understand. Now, if I'm in the hood in Chula Vista or in Logan, guys will come up. Excuse me. Hey, carnal, are you using this weight? Nah, go ahead. Okay, cool. So it has the area or geographical area of where it happens, I think has a lot to do with it. Some cultures, they just take it if no one's touching it. But you're absolutely right. You know, it has happened where it's on the bar and I'm like, yo, I mean, that's a fight. That's the way I took it. And it now that I'm older, wiser, hey, excuse me, bro, I was using that.
So I know there's a story you have about the gym, boss man, but so have you ever been called out? Like somebody you don't know, or somebody you know, but maybe doesn't understand your past or whatever, and they just observe your behavior and say, yo, like for example, this is an obvious one, but the first birthday I was out, I had a good friend, and she's still a great friend, only a friend, but great, my best friend, you know, aside from my dead best friend and the one that's still living. But it was my first birthday in El Salvador, and you know, I didn't have any family, and I only had one friend. That's it. So she called me up and she said, "Hey, meet me at the pupuseria, that you know, by my house." Pupuseria, guy, pupusas is Salvadorian food. It's like a little tortilla stuffed with a bunch of stuff. It's pretty good. It's awesome. But back then I didn't eat too many. But so I went down there and we had a little breakfast and she had a cake for me and she was cutting the cake. I don't know. All of a sudden, whoop, whoop. That was it. I was just whoop, whoop. You know, somebody out, police out on the street. I was gone. Boom, gone. I was out. And then I caught myself. I don't know why. I just caught myself. Ooh. And I turned around and at that time, she knew nothing about me. She told me later she suspected. She told me later that she suspected, but in reality, she said, you know, that she didn't know for a fact. But at that moment, she just looked at me and she said, "Oh, someone has been a bad boy previous to coming here. Someone has had issues with the police."
So
my face was red. I just looked at her like, "Hey, what can I say? I apologize. I don't know what happened right now." So, have you ever been called out? Huh?
Before Bossman, you say anything? So, Teacher Will, apparently you haven't left that life behind either.
Yes, I have. I mean, that was 13 years ago. I hear the siren now. I don't, you know, I look because I don't, you know, make sure. But at that moment, at that moment, I'd only been out like 6 months. No, not even that.
What about the mirrors on the computer?
I mean, that was still within the year and stuff like that. But now what I do now is I'm not obvious, but I still do it. I always look for reflections.
Yes, sir.
Always look in windows, reflections, even if it's metal, anything. When I'm shopping, if I'm in the pots and pans, I'm looking in the reflections. so people can't see that I'm looking at them because I live in El Salvador, guys. I mean, I'm not saying U.S. is not dangerous. It's buck wild now with the whole defund. That's a genius thing, right? Defund the police. Wow, crime went up. Wow, look how that happens. Funny how that happens. You know, down here it's buck wild. Right now we're going through it. It's really crazy right now. So in El Salvador, you always got to be on point, like in general, like in all the time. I mean, people who are not on point tend to be the victims. So but again, I'm not saying the US is by any means safe. It's no longer safe. I just had a student go to Chicago and I told him, you know, hey, number one, you're going to a very dangerous city. And number two, don't talk to the police, just, mind your business and continue on your way because, it's just not a good thing. So, but what about you? Have you ever been called out? Have you ever done something where somebody say, hey, Captain, what's going on,
Several times, not much, but I don't want to take it back to the gym, but at the gym, this big steroid black dude, by accident, he walked away to go get something to drink, and I started messing around with the equipment, adjusted to my level, and when he came back, he tried to punk me, even though I knew he could kick me at any moment. I had to stand my grounds, and luckily we didn't go to blows. But he just told me, "Hey, don't fucking touch that machine, or I'll kick your." And I apologized. I said, "Hey, I'm sorry," and I started walking away. He called me, and I turned around and I gave him a piece of my mind, and I was ready to get down, but it never got to that point. But yeah, I've been challenged a few times. Not much.
The gym, man. That's why I work out at home. All right. What about you, boss man? But boss man, like, I think you, who was it? Didn't you put the weights a certain way one time? And like somebody walked up to you, was like, hey, what yard were you on?
So a great example with that, I do my 8-count burpee, 6-count burpee. I break it up into sections because I have bad knees, and I'll do that in between my sets. And I had a few of the dudes look at me like, what the hell is this guy doing? Hey, like you said, what university did you go to? What college did you go to? And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, what's up. So yeah, of course, I've been called out several times. But let me show you an extreme of how we see the world is gray. This is for entertainment, and these are toys. I'm in my girl's office right now. And as a toy, this is how prepared I am under the desk. This is under the desk right here with a magnet that, hey, she can shoot air pellets at somebody if she needed to. That's how great I look at the world. If I'm not home and she's home alone, she has quick accessibility to air pellets to protect herself. That's how great I see the world. And we live in a wonderful neighborhood where I left my car open overnight with my wallet and my cell phone, and nothing happened. But because of where we've been to the universities we've attended, that's how we graduated.
All right. Well, I would say that after all these years, the thing is, the only problem, I used to tell my father this, he used to get very angry at me because he used to say, hey, you're a free man, so don't speak like that. I mean, he still kind of tells me something because I used to tell him like, hey, and I mean, no disrespect to the country, for real. I really don't. This is just the way I see it because of, the fact that I was deported. So it's not like I can walk home. It's not like I can just walk home or see my family again, So, I did 12 years in the pen. I've been here for 13 years. So you put those together, you got about 25 years. I haven't seen my house. I haven't seen my home. I lost my grandpa. I lost my grandma to COVID. I'll never see them again. Probably won't see, so that's the situation. And so I used to tell my father, I used to say, I just see El Salvador like a big prison, it's just a big yard.
Facts.
But I'm still stuck, I'm still stuck in violence. And like right now, we're in the middle of a violent wave, like, come on, man. And I lost my best friend to murder down here, and I went through 12 years of the penitentiary. It wasn't, I never got shanked. I come down here, I don't get shanked once, I get shanked twice, 7 times, one time, another time try to chop me up with a machete. It's like, what the heck? So for me, to a certain extent, the time never stopped. I mean, I still live, I have to look out for safety. And I teach my wife, hey, listen, I tell her believe it or not, it's crazy. Every time she goes into a public restroom, I tell her, I've told her multiple times, if they put a knife to your throat, you're dead already. Scream. Don't let them take you nowhere. Scream. I'm right here. I'll come in. We'll die together. That's so I never got to let it go completely. But I'd say for the most part, I have a lot of other things, like I didn't spit in the sink for the longest. Now I spit in the sink. I ain't got no problem with it. Somebody bump into me, I took real offense. Now, whatever, you bump into me. If you say excuse me, you should say excuse me. But this is El Salvador, where this is just a whole different culture. It's different ideas, different things. So
on that one, do you take your shower shoes, your chonies, your towel, everything, and set it up in your shower still?
Yeah.
I do that, and I was never locked up. I take everything and I put it in one area, so it's there when I get out of the shower. Boom, and my girl's like, "What are you doing?" That's just my mind. That's just the way I work. I have to have it a certain way set up, so when I get out, I have my program. I know what I need to do.
So.
Yeah, and even myself, when I take a shower, I take a piece in there and I put it behind the door, just in case.
Hey, but you never know.
Hey, Teacher Will.
Yeah.
Where you live, is that the place where you want me and Bossman to come and visit you on vacation?
It is what it is. It's pretty good. So, all right. Well, everything, guys. This is just for entertainment purposes. We always change names, change ideas, just to keep things, on the legal side, disclaimer. But we appreciate your views. We appreciate you tuning into us and your support and your views, and give us a like. If you want to hear us talk about something, please give us a comment below. We'd love to hear what you want us to talk about. We got a captain, we got an officer, and we got a little mini me ex-con over here. So we appreciate it, and we all see the world differently, and we respect everybody's views. So until next time, always show love, always show respect, and remember, it's always a thin line.
Peace.